Okay, so let's dive into something that UK professionals, especially busy ones, always seem to have trouble with. Continuing professional development, CPD.
Oh, yeah.
It's essential. I mean, especially for regulated professions. But keeping track of it all and making sure you're ready for an audit, it can feel like climbing Mount Everest, right?
It really can. You're already swamped with your actual work, staying up to date, and then bam, you've got this massive CPD portfolio to wrangle.
Right.
It's enough to give anyone a migraine.
Isn't it? That's exactly what we're going to unpack today.
Right.
We've got some really interesting sources to dig into, like insights from the HCPC.
Right.
And then there's this company, CPDe. They're claiming they can completely change how we handle CPD. Oh, and we even have a presentation from one of CPDme's founders.
Sounds promising.
Yeah.
What strikes me is that this isn't just about ticking boxes.
Oh, totally.
The HCPC standards actually emphasize the impact of what you're learning, how it's actually improving your practice, and ultimately how that benefits the people you work with.
Absolutely. That's so important. It's all about actually growing professionally, not just complying with rules.
Exactly.
But hold on, before we get ahead of ourselves,
Okay.
let's back up for a sec and remind ourselves.
Yeah.
What does the HCPC actually expect from us when it comes to CPD?
Good point. Because really, understanding those standards is like the base of the whole thing. The HCPC basically has these 4 main standards. The first one is pretty straightforward. You got to be doing CPD activities regularly, and super important here, keep a record of them, like a diary or journal for your professional learning,
So it's not enough to just go to a course or read an article. You have to log it somewhere.
You got it.
Makes sense. What about the second standard then?
That one's all about variety. They don't want you stuck in a rut just doing the same type of learning over and over.
Yeah.
The HCPC wants to see a mix of experiences, a good variety in your portfolio.
Got it. So like attending a conference, but also doing an online course, that would show variety.
Exactly. And it makes sense, right?
Yeah.
Different things challenge you in different ways. And that helps you grow your skills, see different perspectives.
Makes total sense.
Yeah.
It's all about becoming a well-rounded professional.
Yeah.
Okay, but this is where I think things get really interesting.
Okay.
The founder of CPDme, in his presentation, he was really emphasizing how much weight the HCPC puts on things like interactive activities and self-reflection.
Yes.
And those seem to fit right in with standards 3 and 4.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. Standard 3 is all about showing how your CPD has actually made your work better, how it's improved what you provide.
Right.
It's not enough to just list what you did. You got to explain how that learning turned into real improvements.
So, like if I went to a workshop on a new counseling technique,
Right.
I'd need to be able to explain how I actually used that technique and what positive impact it had on, my clients. That's what Standard 3 is getting at.
Exactly. It's about proving that your CPD is making a real difference, not just checking a box.
I see.
And then Standard 4 takes it even further. That one focuses on the impact on the people you're working with, the service users.
Yeah.
The HCPC wants to see evidence that your professional development is helping them.
It's like connecting the dots, showing how your learning journey has a positive impact on the real world. Okay, so we've got a pretty good understanding of what the HCPC expects, and honestly, it's quite a bit to manage.
It is.
Especially when you think about that scary audit process.
Oh, yeah. That's when things can go south.
Right.
Suddenly, that shoebox crammed with certificates and scribbled notes doesn't seem so organized anymore.
It's a total nightmare. But that's where CPDE steps in, claiming they can make everything so much easier.
That's their pitch.
Yeah.
From what I've seen, CPDme looks like it's built specifically to tackle these challenges, particularly for UK professionals. They seem to get the HCPC standards.
Yeah, and the founder, in that presentation, he really hammered home the point that CPDme can make the whole process easier.
Okay.
From recording stuff to actually making that audit-ready portfolio.
All right, I'm intrigued. How exactly is CPDme saying they're going to make our CPD lives less chaotic? What's the secret weapon?
Well, they're big on making CPD recording as quick and easy as writing an email.
Okay.
They've got this user-friendly platform that you can access online, but also on a mobile app, so you can literally log your activities on the go.
That's clever. It's about integrating it into your everyday work, not treating it like this separate, big, scary task.
Exactly.
But a user-friendly interface is just part of it. What about actually building the portfolio and getting ready for an audit?
That's where they say they really shine. They've got this built-in portfolio builder that automatically formats your CPD records, according to those HCPC guidelines. And they have a health check feature that tells you if you have gaps or things you need to fix so you're ready for the audit.
That sounds pretty good. Potentially saves a lot of time and stress. But even with the best platform, isn't the effectiveness of your CPD really about how good your activities and reflections are?
For sure, for sure. And that's where they bring in this whole focus on resources and community. They have loads of webinars on different CPD topics, all meant to help you learn and get better at what you do.
And they even have those pre-built templates for reflection, right? The ones we talked about earlier.
Yep.
Those can be really useful for getting your thoughts organized and linking your learning back to those HCPC standards.
Exactly. It's like they're trying to give you everything you need in one place. But of course, we got to look beyond the marketing and see what actual users are saying.
Right. Does it actually live up to all this hype?
Exactly.
Oh.
What do real people think about their experiences?
Well, we've got some Trustpilot reviews.
Okay.
And they seem overwhelmingly positive. People are really praising them for being easy to use, for having all these features, and for actually making their whole CPD experience better.
It's always good to see that kind of social proof, isn't it?
It is.
It makes you think maybe CPDme really is the game changer they're claiming to be.
Color me intrigued. I'm definitely curious to see how it all works in practice.
Me too.
Yeah.
Let's get down to business and explore this CPDme platform. Is it really the ultimate solution to our UK CPD problems? Time to find out.
Okay, let's get this CPDme platform up and running.
All right.
What are your first thoughts?
The first thing that hits me is how clean and easy to understand the interface is.
Okay.
It's not cluttered with menus or technical terms.
Yeah.
They've definitely made it user-friendly.
That's a good sign because honestly, some of these platforms for professionals feel like you need a computer science degree just to figure them out.
Right.
Yeah.
CPD is totally different. It's simple to find what you need.
Okay.
The main menu is really clear and straightforward. Sections like Home, My CPD, Webinars, Resources, even CPD Teams. It's all very logical.
Speaking of webinars, that was one of the things that grabbed my attention.
Oh, yeah?
Did they actually have a good variety of topics like they claimed?
They do. It's not just marketing fluff either. They've got this impressive library of webinars on all sorts of relevant stuff. You can search by your profession, by theme, even by date. It's like having your own personalized CPD library.
That's neat. And I'm guessing they keep recordings of past webinars too?
Oh, absolutely. They have a whole archive of past recordings.
Right.
And here's the best part. They've integrated CPD tracking right into the webinars.
Really?
Yeah, so once you've watched one, you can request a CPD certificate, and then the system automatically creates a diary entry for you with the certificate attached.
Wow.
No more scrambling to log it later.
That's a really cool feature. Streamlines the whole thing, right? And gets rid of that, did I log this panic we all have?
Exactly. They've made it so CPD fits into your life without any hassle. But let's get back to the main thing. Recording those everyday CPD activities.
Right.
How does that work on the platform?
Well, I remember them saying it's super easy to record activities.
Yeah, and they're not kidding. Remember that diary entry system?
Yeah.
It's so simple.
Okay.
Click Add Entry, and you're taken through these really clear fields. You put in the date, the title of the activity, how long it took. They even let you log down to the minute. So no more rounding up or feeling like you have to exaggerate.
Oh, that's good. That level of detail. You can really capture those shorter bursts of learning we all do.
Totally.
What about all the different types of activities? Can the system handle all the variety the HCPC wants to see?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. They have this big drop-down menu with all sorts of options. Courses, conferences, mentoring, reading, research, private study, discussions with colleagues, even volunteering.
Huh.
It's clear they've really thought about all the ways professionals can do CPD.
That's good to know.
Yeah.
Make sure you can show that well-rounded portfolio the HCPC is after. But how about the reflection part? That's where I struggle, to be honest. It can be tough to really express how your learning connects to what you do, especially when you're so busy.
I hear you. But remember those templates we talked about earlier?
Yeah.
The ones for reflections?
Yeah.
They're right there on the platform.
Okay.
They can be a real lifesaver. They've got different models and frameworks to help you structure your thoughts and make sure your reflections fit those HCPC standards.
So, like, if I'm more comfortable using, let's say, Gibbs's reflective cycle.
Right.
Can I use that on CPDme?
Absolutely. They offer a bunch of models for different styles. It's all about making reflecting as painless and helpful as possible.
Okay.
And if you don't like typing, they even have that voice-to-text feature we mentioned.
Right.
You can literally just say your reflections out loud and the app types them up for you.
That's fantastic for those of us who find the writing part a bit intimidating.
Right. Makes it so much easier.
It does. But what about evidence? We know the HCPC often wants proof of your CPD activities.
Oh, they've got that covered too.
Okay.
You can upload certificates, presentations, even pictures of notes you've taken at a workshop or training.
Okay.
And remember that capture evidence thing on the mobile app?
Yeah.
That's super handy here. You can snap a photo of a document or certificate, and it's saved right there on the platform, linked to your CPD entry.
That's brilliant for staying organized. No more hunting for that one certificate before an audit. It sounds like they've really thought of everything. But the real test, I guess, is how it all works for that dreaded CPD audit.
Right. That's where they really go all out. Remember those donuts on the dashboard?
Yeah, the visual ones.
Yeah, they're a big part of getting ready for the audit. They give you this quick visual overview of your CPD activity, all categorized by those HCPC standards. You can see right away if you're relying too much on one type of activity or if you have gaps in your portfolio.
That's super helpful for checking yourself. Takes out the guesswork of meeting those requirements.
Exactly. And if you need some extra reassurance, they have this CPD Health Check feature. It looks at your whole portfolio, points out any potential problems, and even gives you suggestions for how to fix them.
It's like having a virtual CPD mentor guiding you through it all.
Right. No more sleepless nights worrying about that audit.
Nope.
And then, once you're sure your portfolio is perfect, CPDme have that awesome portfolio builder we talked about. You pick the time frame you want, and the system gathers all your entries, evidence, reflections, everything, and then it formats it all perfectly, following HCPC guidelines. You can literally download a professional-looking portfolio in minutes.
That's amazing. No more messing around with formatting.
Right. And it makes sure your portfolio looks professional and easy to understand.
Exactly. And if you get stuck or have a question, they have that great customer support, right?
Oh, yeah. Email, phone, even WhatsApp. They're clearly dedicated to making things smooth and helping you out.
It sounds like they've really addressed those common CPD problems in a user-friendly, well-thought-out way. But what about the real impact?
Yeah.
Is there proof that CPDme is actually helping professionals?
That's a great question. And luckily, we don't have to just take their word for it. Those Trustpilot reviews we mentioned give us some insight from real people.
Right. So what are people saying about CPDme?
It's mostly positive, a lot of relief and satisfaction. People are saying how CPDme has made their lives easier, reduced their stress, and even made them feel more confident about meeting those CPD requirements.
That's great to hear. It sounds like CPDme isn't just a flashy platform.
Yeah.
It's actually delivering on its promises.
It does seem like they put a lot of effort into creating a platform that's not just practical, but also supportive, and I'm even say enjoyable to use.
It's nice to see a platform that balances all that with being affordable, especially for students.
Right. And those great reviews definitely make them seem more credible.
They do. But we should remember we're getting all this info directly from CPDme.
Oh, for sure.
It's important to acknowledge that. It's their marketing materials, their chosen testimonials.
Yeah.
So while it's encouraging to see all this positive stuff, it's always smart to be a bit skeptical too.
Absolutely. It's crucial to do your own research, read independent reviews, maybe even talk to professionals who are actually using CPDme to get their take on it.
Good point.
And of course, you have to consider your own needs and situation. What works for one person might not work for another.
Exactly.
So while CPDme seems like a great solution for UK professionals who want to make their CPD simpler and be audit ready, it's important to be informed and make your own judgment.
That's the key. It's about finding the tools and resources that help you take control of your own professional development. Well, we've explored the features, the good stuff, the costs, even potential downsides of CPDme. But before we wrap this whole thing up, I'm curious, what's your overall impression? Does it live up to the hype, at least based on what we've seen?
You know, I'm genuinely surprised. It's way more complete and user-friendly than I thought. It seems like they've really thought about the problems UK professionals face. Yeah. And they've made a platform that actually solves those problems in a smart and innovative way.
I totally agree. And the fact that they've made it audible, especially for students, shows they're serious about making CPD accessible for everyone.
Right. It's refreshing to find a platform that's both functional and easy on the wallet.
It is. And those glowing reviews from happy users definitely add to their credibility.
Yeah, they do. But it's important to remember that CPD is a personal thing. What works for one professional might not work for someone else.
That's true.
It's about finding what fits your own learning style, your budget, what your profession requires, and your overall goals for development.
Right, and while CPDme offers a good solution, you should approach it with your own thinking and judgment like you would with anything else. So, as we start to wrap up our deep dive into CPDme,
Okay.
let's step back and look at the bigger picture.
Yeah.
Why does all this matter?
Why should we, as busy professionals, invest time and energy in CPD, in platforms like this, in all these details we've talked about?
That's a huge question. It's easy to get stuck in the routine, the checklist, the requirements.
Yeah.
But CPD is about something much bigger than just ticking boxes.
Right.
It's about investing in ourselves, our careers, and ultimately in how well we serve our clients or patients.
Exactly. It's about wanting to improve, to be the best professionals we can be.
That's the core of it. It's about reaching our potential, not just meeting the minimum. And having the right tools can make that journey easier, more enjoyable, and more rewarding.
Well put.
Yeah.
And that's where CPDme comes in. They haven't just simplified the practical side of CPD.
Right.
They've created this sense of community, encouraged reflecting on your work, and really giving you the power to take control of your professional development.
It's inspiring to see a platform that gets the real point of CPD. They're not just selling software.
They're building a culture of continuous learning and wanting to be the best. So as we leave our listeners to think about their next steps, let's give them one last thought-provoking question.
I like it. What's that final bit of wisdom?
It's this. How can you use the tools you have, whether it's CPDme or something totally different, to turn CPD from something you dread into a positive and rewarding journey?
That's a great question, because at the end of the day, we have the power to shape our own professional lives.
Right.
And the right tools can make that journey not just easier, but more fulfilling.
Exactly. CPD isn't just a requirement. It's a chance to learn, grow, connect with people, and make a real difference.
Beautifully put.
So with that in mind, we encourage you to check out CPDme. See how it might fit into your professional life and embrace the power of continuous professional development.
And remember, CPD isn't just about us.
Right.
It's about being part of something bigger.
Yeah.
It's about striving to be better and making a positive impact on the world.
On that note, we'll leave you to think about all of that.
Mm.
Until next time, happy learning. You know, as we've been going through CPDme, something that really strikes me is how much they focus on building a supportive community.
Oh, yeah.
It's not just software.
Right.
It's like this network of professionals who are all about improving, and that shared purpose can really make a difference.
Absolutely. CPD can feel pretty lonely, especially if you're trying to do it all on your own. But CPDme, they get it.
Yeah.
They get the importance of connecting with people and working together. They've built a space where you can actually share what you're going through and help each other out.
And that community aspect is woven right into the platform. It's not just an afterthought. Remember CPD teams?
Yeah.
That's a perfect example of how they encourage people to work together.
Being able to connect with your colleagues, share things, see how each other are doing.
Right.
That can be so motivating, and it keeps you accountable in a way you don't get when you're on your own.
And it goes beyond just colleagues, too. CPDme's built this wider community through their webinars, their social media, even their customer support. They're actively talking to professionals, answering questions, giving advice. It's a place where people feel supported.
It's about belonging, It's about everyone being committed to being great at what they do. And that can be really powerful, especially when you hit those bumps in the road or feel a bit lost with your learning.
I like that. It's like they've taken the stress and loneliness out of CPD and replaced it with this feeling of shared purpose. Like you're all in it together.
Exactly. And that change in how you think about CPD can make all the difference. When you have support and feel part of something, you're more likely to be excited about learning and do it because you want to, not just because you have to.
Speaking of being excited about learning, it's cool that CPDme really pushes reflective practice.
Right.
That's often the part people forget about.
Yeah, reflection can sometimes feel like an extra thing, something you do if you have time. But CPDme seems to get that it's actually crucial.
And they've really put their money where their mouth is on this. They have those reflective forms we talked about. They have the voice-to-text option if you prefer talking. And they even have whole webinars about reflecting on your practice. They're going all out to make it easy and useful.
And that's great because reflection is where the real learning and growth happens. It's where you see how your actions actually impact your work, your clients, your whole professional journey. It's about putting what you've learned into practice.
Exactly. It's about making those connections, understanding why you're doing what you're doing, and making sure what you learn has a positive impact on you and the people you work with. It's about seeing how everything comes full circle.
And CPDme gives you the tools to do that. They make the process more intentional, give you more insights, and hopefully even make it a bit more enjoyable.
Well said. I think we've covered a lot today, from those HCPC standards to all the cool things CPDme offers. But before we finish up, I want to leave our listeners with something to think about.
Okay, what's that last bit of wisdom?
It's this. CPD isn't just a requirement. It's an opportunity. It's a chance to invest in yourself, to learn new things, to connect with other people, and to make a real difference in your field. And finding the right tools, whether it's CPDme or something else, can change that whole experience.
Yeah.
You can go from just ticking boxes to something really empowering and rewarding.
That's a really nice way to put it. CPD is about investing in yourself, your career, and the people you help.
So we encourage you to check out CPDme, see if it fits into your journey, and embrace what continuous professional development can really offer.
And remember, CPD isn't just about us. It's about being part of something bigger, striving to be better, and making a positive impact on the world.
On that note, we'll leave you to think about those possibilities. Until next time, happy learning.